please come to order. Today we are holding a hearing on empowering workers and the right to organize and collectively bargain. Ranking Member Burr is not here at this time. Senator Braun will be taking his place. Welcome to our committee this morning. We will each have an opening statement, and then we will introduce the witnesses. After the witnesses give their testimony, senators will each have 5 minutes for a round of questions. And while we were unable, again, to have this hearing fully open to the public or media for in-person attendance, live video, as always, is available on our committee website at help.senate.gov. If anyone is in need of accommodations, including closed captioning, please reach out to the committee or the Office of Congressional Accessibility Services. Today's hearing is long overdue. We have been through 4 years of attacks on workers' rights from the previous administration. It has now been 12 years since the minimum wage was raised, and it has been over 70 years since the National Labor Relations Act, the cornerstone of our nation's labor laws, was significantly updated. 70 years ago, there was no internet. Approximately 1/3 of women participated in the labor force. Racial segregation was allowed under the law, and the average retirement age and the average life expectancy were both around 68 years. While our ways of working and our workforce may have changed, the need for workers to be able to join together and have a voice in their wages and working conditions without fear remains as important as ever. Our labor laws are overdue for an update, and the COVID-19 pandemic has only made this need more clear and more urgent. This crisis has changed a lot over the last year and a half, but it has also shown us how much it needs to be changed. This past year, we witnessed the most unequal economic crisis in modern history unfold as women, workers of color, workers with disabilities, and workers with low incomes disproportionately lost jobs, wages, and more. We witnessed how important it is workers have paid family sick and medical leave, a livable wage, and quality affordable child care and health coverage. We witnessed growing inequality as millions of people lost jobs last year, and while the top 1% gained about $10 trillion in wealth. And increasing wealth inequality wasn't a pandemic-only phenomenon. It has been happening for decades. And all of this gave us an important reminder of the difference unions and the right to organize and collectively bargain make in countering this kind of extreme inequality. Here's what unions mean. Unions mean higher wages. In 2020, non-union workers were paid about 84 cents per dollar compared to union workers. Unions mean better benefits. For example, union workers are more likely to have paid sick days. And while only around 2/3 of non-union workers can get a retirement plan, health care plan, and prescription drug coverage through their employer, over 9 in 10 union workers had these benefits. And union workers were almost twice as likely to have the option of an employer-sponsored dental plan. Unions also mean safer workplaces. Unions work hard to educate members about their rights to a safe workplace, and as a result, unionized workplaces are much more likely to be held accountable for health and safety violations. And perhaps one of the most important aspects of union representation is knowing you have other workers in your corner to help make sure you are treated with respect and dignity in the workplace. Knowing you've got backup to help make sure you will not only be paid fairly, but treated fairly. In short, unions mean workers who are the ones truly making our economy run, have better wages and benefits that help them support their families and live their lives. That's why I'm proud Washington State has the 5th highest rate of union membership in the nation. But unfortunately for workers across the country, barriers to workers seeking to form or join a union have been mounting in recent years. We've seen employers try and at times succeed at misclassifying workers to deny them their rights, preventing workers from organizing and collectively bargaining through complicated contracts and subcontracts, and undermining union elections in too many ways to count. Meanwhile, efforts at the National Labor Relations Board to educate workers about their rights and enforce worker protections have dwindled, particularly as Republicans have worked to skew the board against workers in recent years. I'm really hopeful that the new NLRB nominees that have come before our committee recently will help start to fix this, because the results of this campaign against workers' rights have been deeply damaging, especially in light of this pandemic. Right now, only 1 in 8 essential workers is represented under a collective bargaining agreement. And some of the highest risk industries during this pandemic, healthcare, food, agriculture, have the lowest unionization rates. Stronger organizing and collective bargaining rights could have helped change the trajectory of this pandemic and saved lives by making sure that workplace safety was a priority, more workers had paid sick days, and more workers had the wages and benefits that they needed to stay economically secure, like quality, affordable health care and a reliable retirement plan. In short, the pandemic made it clearer than ever we've got to make it easier for workers to exercise their right to collectively bargain, and for unions to fight for the people they represent. Doing so will help us build our economy back stronger in a way that works for families and communities, not just those at the top. And it will help us build back fairer, as data show union memberships reflects the racial, ethnic, gender, and age diversity of America's workforce. Almost half of workers represented by a union are women, and nearly 4 in 10 union members are workers of color. When it comes to addressing racial inequities, data show Black union workers earn, on average, 16% more than their non-unionized counterparts. When it comes to the gender pay gap, women who are not represented by a union are paid 78 cents on the dollar compared to men, but women who are represented by unions are paid 94 cents on the dollar. And when it comes to creating more inclusive workplaces for people with disabilities, union-covered workers in general are more likely than non-union employees to request accommodations, regardless of disability status. So as we work to rebuild our economy in the aftermath of this pandemic, our work has to include steps to finally update our labor laws in order to protect and empower workers. Because we know our economy is stronger when working families are stronger, and our working families are stronger when unions are stronger. That's why I introduced the PRO Act earlier this year, and I'm pushing it hard to get across the finish line. But we can't stop there. We need to raise the minimum wage, provide a comprehensive paid leave program, and more. It's also why I supported the unionization vote of Amazon workers in Alabama, and I support the continued fight for unionization of Amazon workers in Washington State and workers across our country. And it is why we are having this hearing today. So I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today, thank you all for being here, about how we finally bring the NLRA into the 21st century, and how we can ensure every worker is able to form or join a union so they can bargain for better wages and benefits and safer workplaces in which they are treated with respect. With that, I will turn it over to Senator Braun for his statement.